Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Insufficient Friends. I'm Kevin. She's Stevie.
Hi.
And how you doing, Steve? How's your week?
Good. My week was fine. My tire pressure came on, so I've had better weeks, but I fixed it on my own.
That's good.
Yeah.
I remember last time you told me it came on, which has been a while. But I remember this being a thing a while back.
It's a very intimidating experience if you have no idea what you're doing.
I get that.
But yeah, last time it came on,
It was in the winter.
Yes, which is always a toss-up because yes, you should check, and I believe everyone should check their tires. If it's low, it's low. You need to air it up, but it's gonna probably happen again and again because it's the winter, and especially in Missouri when
it happens, when you get a big
really
temperature
cold day,
shift. Yeah,
exactly. So, but I think I said one day at work around the last time it happened, oh, it's wintertime, it doesn't matter, and you're like, well. You should still
do it because it depending on how much it lost, it could still damage your tires.
Yeah.
It could still cause an issue.
And then it actually, around that time, I think it was a mix of my tire light, the pressure light being on, and I think I hit something one day and I did actually pop a tire.
Yeah.
So I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
But it's just never fun when those lights come on your dash. It's oh, really? It's never a good time.
Any light that comes on your dash is a pain, unless it's your blinker.
Right, and it always seems like the worst time, which it's never. It's always awful. Yeah. It's never convenient.
Well, no, because it's just the fact that it is there is the inconvenience, right. So it doesn't matter.
What about you? How was your week?
No, it was fine. It's been a long week.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking and didn't watch we'll get into the movie from last week later, but wasn't thinking and decided to watch it on after work one day instead of on the weekend when I had time. And
the 3-hour one.
Didn't realize it was 3 hours and 15 minutes long.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah. The long ones are tough.
Yes,
I had to watch it in 2 different times, but we'll get into that later.
So I have a question.
Okay.
I saw this the other day.
Okay.
Do you like breakfast?
Do I like eating in the morning or do I like breakfast food?
Let's go with breakfast food.
Yes.
Okay. What do you not like eating in the morning?
Not always.
Okay. Specifically, do you like Eggo waffles?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't eat them regularly, but
I haven't had an Eggo waffle in a long time, but I do like them.
Yeah.
So apparently, Kellogg has teamed up with a distilling company to make a liquor to go with Eggo waffles.
To go with?
Yes.
Okay.
It's called the Eggo Brunch in a Jar Sippin' Cream.
Okay.
I don't
Yikes.
know. It is available in select. So I don't know if it's actually out right now or not. It blends, it says, flavors of Eggo toasted waffles, sweet maple syrup, rich butter, and a hint of smoky bacon.
Okay, so I was about to ask if it's an waffle flavored drink, which it seems to be.
But I don't know. It just says liquor, so I don't know if it is going to have a liquor flavor or if it's going to be like a
Bailey's type.
Yeah, I don't really know. We may have to find this and try it because
I would try it.
I kind of want to see.
Have you had Bailey's before? 'Cause you're not okay. Have you had any type of sweet liqueur before, like a dessert drink?
I mean, yes, I've had a couple dessert wines.
Okay.
Nothing. Not a lot though.
Because you're not a big drinker.
Not really.
Do you, just from what you have drank, do you prefer a little bit of an alcohol taste, or are you I want to not even know that there's alcohol in this?
I mean, usually if I drink something, it's whiskey. So
you got a little burn.
It's got a lot of burn. Yeah.
Okay. So that doesn't bother you too much, because I have a thing with the sweet liqueurs, the ones that almost are kind of milky, like a Bailey's, or any type of dessert drinks, not wines, but mostly Bailey's. I can't think of another specific one, but I know I've been to places where they have like a dessert cocktail menu, and sometimes it's like if it's the right flavor, it can work. But honestly, as much as I love sweets and as much as I love a cocktail, I don't really love them
You don't like them
together.
mixed together.
It's like, I don't know. I really go back and forth sometimes, but it's just almost the sweet with the burn is where I'm kind of like.
So is it?
I don't know about that.
Is it the mixed, or like if you get a sweet wine, is that okay?
It's like the milky. It's
Okay,
like I look
it's
at it and I
that.
drink it, and at first I'm like, this tastes like a chocolate milk, and then I get the alcohol burn, which is
Okay. Well, that's weird.
It is kind of weird.
Yeah,
it's
that
like,
sounds kind of weird.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like you wouldn't mix, but some people.
I mean, I guess you could mix vodka and chocolate milk if you really want to.
But what's Bailey's then? Like, what is that? You know what I mean?
I don't know what Bailey's is.
So
I don't. I think it's considered just a chocolate liqueur.
Right.
But I don't know.
But if you look at it, it looks like chocolate milk.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
But I guess so. I don't know about this waffle thing. I would try it now, but if it's gonna be kind of that same vibe of like feels like milk, looks like milk, but tastes got that alcohol burn, I don't know about it. Sometimes it doesn't go well.
Okay.
Because I don't know. My drinks, usually if I want like a cocktail, I'm fine with sweet, but I'm fruity, tropical, not chocolate.
I get
milky.
that. If I'm gonna have something like that, I would want it fruity too. I don't.
Yeah.
Or like a rum and coke or something like that.
Right,
which
yeah,
isn't
mixed
really
with
fruity,
the soda,
but
something
like,
with carbonation.
Yeah,
I get that.
I get that entirely. Well, we have to find this and try it because that might.
Yeah, we'll have to further our research on that. But it's interesting they say goes with. I want to come back to that because who's gonna be having waffles with booze?
I don't know.
That's
I
I
have
guess
mimosas
yeah, that's
and-
brunch.
and yeah, that's it.
That's
says
a good
it's
point.
They're boozy brunch in a jar is one of the like things that it says, which is
That's popular with.
You have mimosas
Yeah.
and what's the
Screwdrivers?
Yeah, screwdrivers, which I like screwdrivers.
Me too.
I don't have a problem with mimosas. The one that I'm thinking of, I don't like though. I can't remember what it's called.
What kind of?
It's tomatoes.
Oh, Bloody Mary.
Yes, I do not like it. Bloody
No, but that's all. That is not the vodka's fault. That is the tomato juice fault for me personally.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't know. It's something. It's just, in my opinion, it's just a weird mixture, and I don't care for it very much. I know it's really popular. Not my thing.
Right, but I'm intrigued by this.
Intrigued by the drink, by
Yeah.
the Eggo drink.
Yeah,
Okay, well we'll have to see if we can find it.
and I typically like waffles and pancakes, stuff like that. That's not. I feel like most people aren't just like having that for breakfast every day.
No, I mean it's
So I could see like, okay,
if you're having something that's
like
like
a fun event where you're like, we're having waffles, pancakes, and this fun little drink, and then like mimosas and stuff. So interesting.
Okay, well we'll have to look more into that because that
Yeah.
seems like it'd be fun. So last week we talked about this a couple weeks ago that you have officially graduated from college.
Yeah.
Congratulations. I don't have my sounder. Hold on.
okay.
Hold on.
Thank you. Thank you.
We talked about that a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Last week you had your party. And I was thinking about something, and
Oh,
I have
God.
a rant.
No, Kev. It was the most perfect day.
It's not about your party. Don't worry about that.
Because I've already established it was like one of the best days.
It was
ever.
great. I had a blast.
Okay, good.
It was getting there and getting home.
Really?
Yes. So, not where the location of it is. My annoyance is with street names.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, this is fine then.
Why? And I know the reason, but why is it that we have to have streets that have 4 different names depending on where you're at on them?
Isn't that crazy? When I first moved to Columbia, I thought the same thing.
I've seen it in other places, but it still boggles my mind. Like when I was going to your party, I was like, I will map it out in my head. Like here's where I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go this way, this way, this way.
Oh yeah, because you don't use like Google
And
Maps.
I don't use Google Maps usually. And I was thinking about the ways that I could go, and I thought about it, and I was like, okay, well if I go this way, and it just came into my head, I'm like, there's this one street that I'm going to drive down. I'm going to drive down technically 3 different streets because it's one stretch of road, but it's 3 different streets.
Yeah.
And it actually has 4 different names, and I don't know why it needs 4 different freaking names.
I know, and I'm sure there is a valid reason. I'm actually surprised you don't know. Like, I feel like this is something up your alley that you would have an answer for. What I would guess
is that at some point they expanded the road or moved it.
That's what would be my guess.
Or connected 2 roads, and they just gave it a new name. Instead of keeping a name, it got a new name.
Yeah. Or 2 roads that were already named for some reason. Yeah. For
sure. The one that gets me even more than that, too, that I've seen in places, is when a street will go, stop, and then pick up like 3 blocks later and keep going.
Okay. Like
say you're driving down the road, and you need to get to a certain block number of this street. Mm-hmm. You can't go straight down this street. You have to take another street over, go down, come back, and then get back on that street.
Oh, I don't know.
It's not one connected street.
Okay.
There's breaks in it.
I don't know if I've read into that. I mean, I'm sure I have.
It's really weird.
But I haven't
And
noticed.
if you don't know exactly where you're going, it can screw you up very quickly.
Right. Interesting. I have always thought, like, why does this, like, a road that turns into another, that never made sense to me. Like you said, I'm sure there's a reason, but it just looks silly. Like, why, like, Grindstone?
Yeah.
It just turns into Nifong.
Yeah. Well, it starts as, from east to west, it starts as New Haven, then turns into Grindstone, then turns into Nifong, then turns into Vater School.
So there you go.
That's specifically the one I was talking about.
Oh, that was the one?
That was specifically the one I thought about.
Okay.
There's 2 roads that are like that I drive down to get to go there.
Yeah.
But that's one of them specifically. And the other thing too is that Grindstone turns into Nifong.
Yeah.
But Nifong also runs alongside of Grindstone. Because at the point where Grindstone and Nifong merge, Nifong just moves over a block, and there is Nifong again.
Okay.
So if you go south 1 block...
Oh, south.
If you go south a block, you're on Nifong again.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is dumb.
Yeah.
And I don't get it.
No, I've never... Street names are not how I give directions.
Street names are very much how I get around.
No, most people probably. But
no, I think some people do. I think a lot of people, they'll get around by landmarks too.
Yeah, I'm usually like, it's over by this building.
As long as... The only problems with that is as long as the building never changes or doesn't go out of business. Or you don't make it on like a billboard or something that can change.
That's a good point. But that's also, I mean, just thank God we have Google Maps, because most people, not you, you're the exception, but most people that like I'm trying to give directions to, I feel like if we're both doing it by buildings, monuments, at some point someone says the wrong thing and you're like, well, no, not by that, but by, okay, well, you don't know where that monument is. Do you know where this one is? Yeah. Okay, so then go left there, and then it's going to be by this. It's like you get too tied up in it, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah, see, that's why I just use street names.
Yeah, no, it's definitely so more efficient. But street names can be complicated, too.
They can be. They can be. Yeah.
That's a good point. Interesting. But when you got there, you had fun.
I had a blast.
Okay, good. I was just talking to my dad yesterday about how, like, sometimes when, like, a bunch of groups are there, because it's, like, my family, my friends from, like, high school, and then, like, my work friends, and I'm just like,
yeah, okay, you said it was weird.
I can't be in 3 places at once. How am I going to, like, entertain everyone? But it wasn't. Like, everyone just kind of meshed together.
Yeah, everybody kind of talks.
And I didn't feel like the next day, because sometimes I get anxiety the next day being social. I'm like, oh, did I say something stupid? Whatever. Didn't feel like that, which was great.
That's good.
It never happens. So I was happy. I was very happy.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Good.
I'm glad. It was fun to meet your grandparents, too, and some of your other friends.
Best. Shout out my grandma. We know she's going to listen.
Yes.
Best.
It was great to meet all of them, and it was a nice time, Steve.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad you had fun. So I went to, I've been meaning to tell this story. I wanted to talk about it last week, but we just ran out of time. We've talked about this before. I love stand-up comedy. Mm-hmm. And one day I'm going to try it. One day. That's like a bucket
That's your
list
goal.
goal.
We've talked about this for over a year.
Don't know if I ever will, but okay, listen.
We have.
It's intimidating.
I get that. I'm not saying that. I just have known this has been a goal for a long time.
Gotcha. So sometimes I'll go to but I have much respect, even for people who it is their first day ever
it's
doing stand-up. Except I went to amateur night with Will, my boyfriend, a couple weeks ago, and I found someone I did not have respect for. And let me say why. So sometimes, obviously, stand-up is a very intimidating thing. This person was doing stand-up because he lost something.
Yeah. Which is fine.
And I didn't know this at the time.
Yeah.
But this little comedy club in town, it's usually pretty empty. It's like a hole in the wall. Like, no one goes except for the people that are on stage and then, the 10 people that are just there every week.
Okay.
Maybe a couple inconsistent goers. Yeah. But it's never packed.
Okay.
Because it's
a little place.
It's like alternative.
Yeah.
So we went last week, and I love going, even when they're not good. I just I'm almost it's so admirable to me that I'm just in awe every time. And there's so many people this past time, and I'm like, do these people come here every week? I hadn't been in a while. Maybe they're this new group of people. And I know that wasn't the case, because when the show started, they would not shut up. And once again, it's not a big place. So it's if 3 people are talking and someone's on stage talking, you can't hear the person on stage, because you just hear all these voices. And they were just, this group of people were just so on another planet, so ignorant. The host, the MC just kept saying, making fun of them, basically, can you guys stop talking, please? And they just they couldn't even hear them because they just kept talking. It was so frustrating. And they weren't listening to any of the comics. And then
that's just obnoxious.
So obnoxious. And then this guy finally goes up. He's the 3rd guy, 4th guy of the night. And everyone gets quiet. And I'm like, oh, maybe they know this guy. And he doesn't say why he's there at first, but he's on his phone on stage. You only get 6 minutes, but he's on stage the whole 6 minutes reading jokes off his phone. And they're knock jokes, and they're jokes people have heard. People are shouting the punchlines at him. So it's not only, clearly this is his first time ever doing this, but something's going on. Why'd you choose to do this?
Yeah.
And then at the end, he explains that he lost his fantasy football league, and this was the punishment.
Okay, so go ahead.
No,
finish.
Okay, I'm gonna say it's almost done.
I'll say mine.
Sorry, I am rambling.
No, you're good. You're good.
And then and you just notice he's saying all these super bad jokes, and this whole group that's been talking the whole time is laughing, and it's just such a disrespectful situation.
Yeah.
And I'm sure no one else thought this, but I was getting really annoyed. And then this guy's finally done. He explains, I lost the bet. And then he's and all my friends are here with me. And I guess, I don't know if he thought people were going to applaud or what, but he gets off stage and the MC's oh, this was your group of friends? Well, he's done. You guys can go now. That's how it was just good. Unbearable. But okay, that's the story. I was really frustrated.
So to those people. So my thought on this is, I don't have a problem if you lose if you're gonna make that the punishment. If you're gonna make it a punishment, that's fine.
Okay.
But if you're gonna do it, you have to actually try.
Right.
I don't care what you do, but if you're gonna do it, don't ruin other people's time by making the whole thing a farce. At least try to do something. I don't,
No, I agree with that.
I don't have a problem with wanting to make it interesting and fun, because you want an actual punishment to do for something like that. That's pretty good punishment. Crazy. As long as somebody has any sort of anything. Or
have your help the person that has to go do this.
Yeah.
Give them some, And I thought it also the group that was there was they were all, young college kids who probably, I guess it just, and I'm taking this in a way that is probably not necessary. I looked at it as this group of college kids who think they're really cool and thought this they're kind of seeing this whole place this whole business as like a joke.
Yeah.
They know that this is kind of like a quirky alternative place, and they're laughing not only at their friend but at everyone in there.
But but other people might like that, and that's why you don't. That's not okay. Like, don't be that person. That's just being a bad, like, a mean person. Right. Like, just be nice, and just be respectful. It's not that difficult.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't blame you for being annoyed with that.
Yeah.
So did you get any closer to going up on stage?
No, but you have to, you can't just show up and go.
Oh, you can't?
No.
Oh, I figured it was just like first come, first serve. You have to actually set it up beforehand?
Yeah, because I think, I think you just have to, probably just talk to someone. Like, you could, I bet, but they have to kind of plan the show because they can't have, too many people because it ends at a certain time and whatever. They have to, they do a specific order, and, so I think you can probably, just show up and then go next week if they have a slot for you. Yeah. But you can't just show up and go that night, no. And everyone has to, at some, before they start, all right, I have comics come on stage, we have to rally and whatever, and they give a spiel. So it doesn't really work like that. I would have to, do some more communication. But I need to go more. That was the first time I've gone in months.
Yeah. Yeah, because you guys went on a pretty semi-regular.
That was our first date.
Yeah.
We used to go, and then we went every. They also used to do it on Thursdays. Now it's on Tuesdays. Not that big of a deal, but I don't work on Fridays, so Thursdays would be more ideal because it's pretty late, and I go to bed pretty early, so it's hard to sit through 2 hours of comedy at 8 p.m. for me.
Steve being the little college kid, a little bit still there.
Well, you go to bed way earlier than me, Kev.
I do, but I also work 70 hours a week, so.
I know. That's a terrible excuse. I work part-time.
But anyway. Okay, yeah, that's fun, though. I mean, I've been to a couple comedy shows. The ones that I always went to, I've been to the Improv once.
Oh my gosh, I'm jealous.
And then I've been to, I saw George Carlin a little bit before he died.
Oh, rest in peace.
And I've seen Jerry Seinfeld. And I saw Jeff Dunham.
Great names.
But most of them, I've never been to a local smaller comedy place. The Improv is definitely the smallest one, and it's not real big. I mean, it probably seats 100 and something people, but it's not huge.
Right. But just to say, that's a pretty, in the comedy world, that's a historical place. I feel like every comic has been I started at the Improv, so that would mean a lot. I would love to go there one day, or the Laugh Factory or the Comedy Store, any of those places. I would love to go.
Those are all great because there's a lot of names that have gone through all of those.
Yeah, definitely.
No,
I'm working on my 5 minutes.
Working on your 5 minutes?
Yeah, I'll get there one day.
How many minutes do you have so far?
I mean, if I really narrowed it down to what I think is the funniest, probably 3.
So you have about half?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's pretty good. That's not terrible.
Although I have been seeing, there's something so embarrassing about, thinking. It's kind of how I felt about this when we started, having a podcast. There's something kind of embarrassing about, assuming people want to listen to you. It's
yeah.
I'm gonna go on stage and assume these people are gonna I think what's the point of trying stand up to be famous, as stupid as it sounds? It's people aren't just doing that because they think I want to make a room full of people sit there and look at me and bomb the whole time. You want to make people laugh, and then you want someone to be you're really good. You want people to tell you good job.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
That's embarrassing.
If you get one person to tell you that you did a good job, that's the best thing ever.
Yeah, but there's something about it to me that's I'm too oh no, I can't step foot on that stage because then it's I need this validation. And
yeah.
It's I don't want to feel I need anyone's validation, but it's the same thing in my job.
But everybody wants
exactly.
The validation. It doesn't matter.
Whatever.
It doesn't matter what it is in what form or anything. It's in all places and all the time.
It's I think I'm funny, and that's why I'm going. Ew! I step up there and I'm I'm so funny. These people are gonna crack up. Whatever.
See, I mean, I get that, but I don't think you think that because you're always a little.
I'm my biggest critic.
You're the biggest critic, and I'm a little bit that way too. I think a lot of people are. It's just, I mean, I think that's almost, it's bad and good in certain situations for that kind of stuff. Okay. Like, it's bad because you're never going to live up to your own standards, which is kind of a letdown at times. But on the happier side, it's good because it helps you grow and try to get better.
This is true, and you're never going to try something and be good at it. Like, trying means you're probably going to be bad.
Yeah, if you're just starting out, you're going to more than likely not be good at something.
I know, but I hate not being good at stuff. But that's part of life.
Everybody does.
Thank you.
Everybody hates not being good at stuff.
Ain't that the truth? On a less lighter note.
Yeah, on a less lighter note. We watched Schindler's List this week.
That might be the most, at least in terms of like deaths, like most gruesome movie on that list. At least I hope. Because if it gets worse, that's crazy.
That's possible. I mean, the fact that it's like based on a real story and that the Holocaust actually happened is it makes it worse. That kind of stuff actually happened.
Yeah, I was like physically uncomfortable for a majority of the movie.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, this isn't new news that the Holocaust was absurd.
Yeah, and it was, it was 90 years ago, too.
Not that long.
It's not that long.
It should be longer ago. It feels like.
But it's
crazy.
It is sad. I did like the movie.
Yeah.
I thought it was I thought the little girl in the red coat. Did you notice the only color in that whole movie?
Yes, and I'm still confused.
The only thing I can think of, and I haven't read anything. I haven't looked. I'm sure you can find it if you look it up.
Yeah, that's true. I could.
But the only thing I could think of watching it is because you see her walking through the streets during the raid when they're killing a bunch of Jews, and clearing out that town. And you see her walking through the streets, and Liam Neeson's character Schindler is watching her.
Right.
And she's not bothering anybody. Nobody's bothering her. She's just kind of almost like she's not even there. She's just kind of walking through the streets. And then later, he sees the red coat again, and it's again the only color that you see in the whole movie. And she was killed because they're digging up the bodies from that night,
right,
and burning them.
I guess.
And the only thing I can think of is that's just to like tie it together or something.
Because he ended up wanting to save all these people.
Yeah, because then that kind of, I think, made him more want to save people.
It's like more. Someone stuck out. Like, these aren't just bodies anymore.
Yeah.
Like, that was a person that he remembered.
Girl. Yeah.
And the little girl, of course. I guess, so, obviously, she was a Jewish person. I get, how were they supposed to know that? I mean, I know a lot of them, like, that's a thought I kept having when, like, all these people are running around just killing. I guess no one that lived there wasn't Jewish unless were killing, or unless they were like part of one of the Nazis.
Yeah,
right.
In that by that time they had already moved. They had segregated them so much that there wasn't anybody else.
It was impossible to find anyone that wasn't. Okay.
And also, you were required by law to wear the Star of David on your clothing.
But that girl wasn't. Was that on the little girl's coat?
I don't know because it was so far. You got to remember the shot was like him up on a hill looking down at her, so you couldn't really.
But
tell.
If every civilian was assumed to be Jewish, then that makes more sense. Mm-hmm. Like, you just knew everyone was. One thought I had, because this is, so like you said, based on a true story, correct? I mean, I'm sure it's not 100% historically accurate, but like Schindler was real. I don't think any of the concept of that he saved a bunch of them by putting them in a factory is supposedly a true story.
Yeah. I don't know. I always have a little bit of wonder on how true the true stories are.
Because no one was recording it.
It's interesting, but there's some of them are still alive, though, or were still alive when that movie came out. Sure. So you have first-hand accounts of what happened.
Word of mouth. Yeah.
But I always wonder sometimes based on true story, how much of it is a true story. But yes, somewhere along the lines, it is based on true story. Right.
So one thought I had, as crazy as it sounds, as much as these people had gone through at this point, when Schindler made the lists with the guy on the typewriter, and then they started calling out the names to like save these people, I mean, even though there were thousands of names being called, or hundreds of names.
I think hundreds of
names. It's like 800 or something like that.
It was a couple thousand. It was a couple
It
thousand.
was? Yeah. Okay, I couldn't remember the exact number. But so thousands of names are being called. It was like 8 pages or something like that. Those people, even after everything they had been through, probably thought like they are the luckiest people on the planet at that time because their names are on that list.
I think to a certain extent, maybe. But you'll also, if you remember too, and I don't know how close you were paying attention, but in one night when they're all in one of the camps,
yeah,
one of the women's bunks, they're talking about each other. They're talking to each other, and they're talking about the gas chamber.
That's right.
And one of them says, "They wouldn't do that to us because we're their labor force. Why would they kill their labor force?" And then they just kind of leave it, like they would never do that to us. Right. We're still people, and we're helping them. Like they would never do that to us. So I'm sure there was something in the back of their minds that they knew, but at the same time, I don't know how much you would have known at that point. So
yeah,
because you got to remember it's just, I mean, it was horrifying. Right. How many people were killed in that?
Oh my God,
millions of people killed.
6 million.
Yeah,
is what they said at the end of the movie.
Yeah,
obviously I don't.
There's more. The text at the end that goes like the information said there's more descendants of Schindler's group of people, the Jews that he had working for him, than there are like Polish Jews, because that's how much of they wiped him out, basically.
Right.
So it's crazy. I also thought it was nice at the end how they had all of them, like the thing where they had all the people that were portrayed in the movie,
right,
with the actors that portrayed them lay a rock on Schindler's on his grave.
Yeah, there was like a
little memorial,
and it was in color, so it's like clearly okay, movie's over, and it was which I guess when was the movie made, or when did it come out?
It came out in the 80s, I think.
Okay, so 40 years ago now, but it was when the actual movie had come out, and then the people
93.
Some of the characters that were in the movie, the actors who played them, and then the actual people.
The actual person, yeah.
They like
who it was.
You could see them like walking them over to Schindler's grave, and yeah, that was nice. And some of them had like probably, I guess, was it just the actors, or was some of them like their family members? Like their descendants.
Well, the beginning, I believe, was the actor and then the person who played them.
Okay.
So the actor, the person who played them, and then the real person that was walking with them is who I believe it was, but I'm not entirely sure about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a very heavy movie.
Yes, and it's
a very good movie.
Yeah.
But it's a very heavy movie, and it does take a little bit to get into.
Yeah.
A little bit to realize.
Know, I mean, not that the Holocaust isn't common knowledge, but like if you only know like about Hitler, it's probably harder to follow. You need, I feel like there's some history behind it that I was like, well, I don't really know who this person's supposed to be, so I would like look them up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was, hundreds of leaders of camps and things like that, so it's hard to say who to pick out individual people. They just picked out individual people that were around around Schindler. So,
well, we won't get too into this, but have you seen the Boy in the Striped Pajamas?
Mm-mm.
Okay, I don't know if maybe we could watch that on here, just you in your free time. But it's a lighter version.
Okay.
It's still about the Holocaust, and it's still a very heavy ending.
Okay.
But it's kind of more like it's about kids.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just more. It's like this boy who kind of lives close to a camp meets a kid that's like literally at like the fence of one of the camps.
Oh, okay.
And they're like playing together, and they're both like, "Why are you there? But I'm over here. I don't get it."
Yeah.
And it's more innocent, and it's I guess
it's more from a kid's point of view than it is from.
Yeah, and it's a little more. It's less historical, so it's kind of more like it's more probably for like entertainment purposes.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like the story is more like richer.
Okay.
But I would suggest watching that too,
okay,
if you find this stuff interesting, because as terrible as it is very fascinating that something so crazy took place not even 100 years ago.
No. Yeah, so. It is. It's sad too. It's
very sad.
Terrible.
And
terrible.
like,
but
can't.
Yeah.
Hearts are with those people. I can't even imagine the
No,
life they had to live.
I can't either. But you gonna laugh at this music?
Well, it's just like, okay, that's a transition.
What else am I gonna do?
You're
What else am I gonna do? We don't have anything else to talk about. We're going to watch
From The Wizard of Oz to Schindler's List.
Yeah,
we
we're gonna
review
watch
it all.
Snow White next week. So
thank God.
Steve needed something lighter than Schindler's List, so we'll get that, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
Bye.